Verse of the day, John 16:33. These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulations. But be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Hello everyone, and welcome to the Clean Reads podcast. I'm your host Izzy, and right now, if you can hear me, I'm a little bit sick as I'm recording. I've been sick for over a week. So if I've been less active on YouTube or Spotify or whatever you're listening to on right now, and that's because of it. I hope you liked last week's episode. If you didn't listen to it, I'll leave a link down below of that episode that featured my niece and nephew. Sorry, I have a lot of them, but two specifically, Abby and Nathan, who came on my podcast and told me their favorite books and what they like to read. And it was really fun, and you should definitely go watch that. Today's book is the book that got me starting a podcast. I'm going to make so many people upset with this, because not only did I DNF it, but I absolutely, did not like the book at all. And I will explain why in a second. But, first let me ask you to click like and subscribe. And I have a goal for this, that by the end of my birthday, which is the end of May, I have a challenge, and that is to get as many people to subscribe on my podcast by the end of May. And if we can hit 100 subscribers, I will be gifting one of you, one of the lucky winners, a book, a free book. You don't have to pay for shipping or anything. And that's just as a thank you for helping me get to 100, because I only have a few right now, and every like and every subscribe helps me a lot to get out there more. And it's a very niche podcast or YouTube channel that I have, so it's very hard to find people to listen. And if we can get to 1,000 subscribers, which that would just make me go nuts if we got 1,000. I will also be giving 2 more, so it will be a total of 3 books I'm going to be raffling off to 3 of my subscribers, completely for free. The shipping and stuff like that into the location will be figured out later, but you will be a part of it, and all you have to do is subscribe, and that's all I'm asking you to do right now. But anyway, let's get into Powerless by Lauren Roberts. So Powerless has been described as, I heard it from Haley Pham and Ashlyn. Both of those YouTubers, I love watching. They're Christian YouTuber women. They're married, and they're very fun to watch. I love watching them. Both of them got me into reading, actually, and I have a big thank you for them. But I saw them promoting this book, Powerless. They really liked it. I think, here, let me look on Goodreads. Haley rated it 4 stars, and Ashlyn rated it 5. And they also said that this book had no spice. It was a clean fantasy, and I really wanted to try it, because I've read fantasy, but with a romance as a subplot, not a main plot. And this was supposed to be the Hunger Games kind of book. It was supposed to be like the Hunger Games, sorry. But I've never read the Hunger Games, but I know it's like a trial. You go on trials and stuff like that. In a competition, and so I was interested. I've never read something like that before, and I was curious to read it. And so here's the back. She is the very thing he spent his whole life hunting. He is the very thing she spent her whole life pretending to be. Only the extraordinary belonging in the kingdom of Ilia, The exceptional, the empowered, the elites. The powers these elites have possessed for decades were graciously gifted to them by the plague, though not all were fortunate enough to both survive the sickness and reap the reward. Those born ordinary, are just that ordinary. And when the king decreed that all the ordinaries be banished to preserve his elite society, lacking in ability, suddenly became a crime, making Peyton Gray a felon by fate and a thief by necessity. Surviving in the slums as an ordinary is no simple task, and Peyton knows this better than most. Having been trained by her father to be keenly observant since she was a child, Peyton poses as a psychic in the crowded city, blending in with the elites as best she can to stay alive and out of trouble. Easier said than done. When Peyton unexpectedly saves one of Ilia's princes, she finds herself thrown into the purging trials. The brutal competition exists to showcase the elite's powers, the very thing Peyton lacks. If the trials and the opponents don't kill her, the prince she's fighting feelings for, certainly, if he discovers what she is, completely ordinary. So, as you can see, this sounded like an interesting book to read. And I was like, what is this book going to have in it? Because it sounded interesting. I didn't know how brutal it was going to be, actually. What I liked about it is that I kind of liked the characters. I liked Peyton's friend. I didn't like Peyton as a person, really. I like characters that are honest and not lying all the time. But that's my preference whenever I read something. I like someone who's a little bit more honest, but I don't know. She's lying all the time. She's a thief. She steals. Not exactly a model citizen, but she does it all to survive, and I can kind of respect that, even though I don't approve of it. The writing was okay. With the characters, I liked the prince whom she saved, Kai. I liked him. I could totally visualize these characters in the setting, which sometimes I just don't picture anything. Sometimes I get a vivid picture, like a movie scene when I'm reading books. And to me, that's like part of when you're reading books. You're supposed to envision a setting. With this one, it gave it pretty detailed. The storyline was pretty good. I like the concept. I've never read The Hunger Games, so this is the first book ever by Lauren Roberts as well. And I think for this being her debut novel, I think she did a really good job with the concept, even if it was hung a little bit back on The Hunger Games, which a lot of people say that she just copy-pasted that story. I think she did a really good job on trying to make it her own, but also trying to get inspiration from books like it. That being said, that's as far as my compliments can go. Yes, I loved the characters. I also love Peyton's friend. And Kai's cousin, I think that's who it was. And I disliked the villains that were in it. However, I absolutely did not like a lot of the things that were in it. And here's why. One of them was there's a scene. And I read this book like halfway through before I DNF'd it. And you're going to hear why, for a few of the reasons why I just stopped. And the last one is the main one, because I don't like that in books. I will immediately DNF a book. No exceptions. One of the reasons was the brutality. There was a lot of mentions of, like, violence. There was a lot of, like, graphic violence. There was blood. There's just, like, all this stuff. Obviously, I've read books that are similar to that, where they are brutal, but sorry, that's our house creaking. But, I've read a lot of books that are similar to it in brutality, but I don't know, with this one it just felt a little bit darker. And if you see like the cover of the book, it actually kind of matches what the book is about. Like usually sometimes the cover doesn't match the book or vice versa. Like the contents in the storyline of it. Not all the times, but sometimes. With this one, it actually perfectly matched because it looked like sharp, deadly, and dark. That if you look at the cover, that describes the book contents and the cover of the book perfectly. And that's what it's the 3 words I could describe for this book. I didn't like the knife to knife relationship. And okay, when I say knife to knife relationship, you have to bear with me on this one. There's a scene in Powerless where Peyton's at the castle, where Kai lives, and both of them are part of the purging trials. And there's this scene to where she holds a knife against Kai, her crush's throat. And when I'm reading it, I'm like, okay, why are you putting a knife against the guy that you like? And then he does the same thing for her. To where, and then he even pushes against the knife that she's holding against his neck, to where it starts drawing blood. And it's just like, how can you fall? How is that love? How is that like, I don't know. I just don't like that. And there was drinking in that book as well. And there was another scene, and you can skip this one either for quote spoilers or for just, this one was very vivid and very shocking to read, is that while this one girl who is a friend of the, I guess, antagonist, the antagonist kind of girl who's also in the purging trials. And they are all in the purging trials. All these characters are dropped off in these woods, and she finds Peyton and Kai and tells them to give her, I'm gonna guess, a flag. Like in football, there's like, or I should say flag football, where they try to like get that flag. It's like something like that with the purging trials, where they try to steal one another's like quote flags. So she was trying to steal it from Peyton and Kai, and as she's about to kill Peyton, Kai comes up behind her and runs a sword through her, and it gives a very detailed description on how, and it's from Peyton's point of view. This part is from Peyton's point of view of how like detailed, like how this girl died right there and then and there. And it was very disturbing. It made me want to start reading it right there, and I probably should have, because if I kept going, you'll see why in just a second. But I want to point out 2 more things that I didn't like about this book. One is there was a lot of lust instead of love, like bodily lust. Like how they wore like dresses where it showed most of the back, which I guess like is okay, but when like you're talking about how the guy that you like's hands is on your back while you're dancing and how gruff it feels, I don't like that. Why can't you just like, I don't know. Whenever I see people like dressing inappropriately, I say to myself or to my parent or whoever it is I'm standing next to, who's not going to yell at me, is throw on a t-shirt, throw on a sweatshirt or a turtleneck, just because it's just inappropriate and I don't think that's right. But there's also a scene where Peyton gets injured really heavily after she gets ambushed by someone wanting to kill her again and during the purging trials. And she finds Kai and she collapses on the ground, and she has a wound, I want to say by her ribs, so it's by her, like, it's on her side, and she has to address the wound. And look, this one I'll give it a pass just because look, she's dying. He has to help her or she will die. And he does end up helping her to heal and everything. But I just didn't like, I don't think there was like that much description on like feeling her in itself. But yeah, I just didn't like that part either. But I could understand it more than the dancing and feeling the hands of the guy that you like on your back. I just don't like that. And the last one, and this one is the last straw for me to stop reading this book, is that they were both, like, at the end, I guess, of this chapter or something. And I know books like this go into more detail. If you look up, like, what are the contents in this book, oh yeah, there's if they just lie by each other, I think that's what the same with the Hunger Games. They have to sleep in a sleeping bag. Is the trick. I think that's the thing with the Hunger Games. They have to sleep in a sleeping bag together to keep warm. And look, if it just said that, I would be willing to read the Hunger Games. But I've noticed with books, and I've even read a middle grade book, and I can do a review on that later. I know they go into more description. Just because, like, look, of course you're going to feel the guy's warmth of the body. Of course you're going to want to have that urge to do things that are immoral because of that. But with this, they do the same thing to where, yes, it's no spice. They don't do spice. But they are lying together. And sure, like, they lay down to sleep. Peyton's lying down, and then he puts his head on her stomach. And of course, they're not lying back to back or anything like that. But they are lying together, and that just, I will not take that. I will not stand for that. And I have to go now, but that's the reason why I won't read Powerless, and I will not continue the series. I may change when I get older, but for right now, that goes against of what I believe, according to, like, how guys and girls should be together. They don't need that. There's no reason until you get married to lie next to each other. It's one of the blessings of being married, is to be with your loved one, not beforehand. And so I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please like and subscribe and comment what your thoughts about Powerless. And if you still think that I should continue to read it, comment down below on the reasons why I should. And if that scene isn't really that explicit, like I was just talking about before, please tell me what it does contain, and I may consider reading it again, but chances are a little unlikely. Thank you so much for listening in, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!